So, your Disney cruise is coming up. Online check-in is where the magic begins.
Today we're going to be sharing with you 10 essential tips for online check-in.
So if you're new here, my name is Justin, this is Lacey, welcome. We do a lot of Disney cruise as well as just Disney in general, travel and also lifestyle vlogs. So if you're into any of that, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. So the first tip we have for you is to save the date for online check-in day. It's kind of like a holiday in our house. Now online check-in is 30 days before your cruise, and the portal opens up midnight Eastern time. So we're Mountain Standard Time, so it's 10 o'clock our end. We always set an alarm or a reminder, like, maybe 30 minutes earlier. So for us, it's about 9:30. So we're ready with our laptops, our phone, and all the different things that we'll talk to you about is all ready to go. So that way our online check-in goes very smoothly. And if you want to verify the date for your online check-in, just go to Disney Cruise website and it'll let you know. But again, it's midnight, and or if it's 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So if the date is on the 12th, technically it's on the 11th for you, so be ready for it.
All right, tip number 2 is use a computer, not just the app when you're doing the online check-in. Sometimes the app, it's convenient, but it can get a little glitchy sometimes. So when we do it, I usually will have the phone open, he'll have the laptop, and we'll, see which one is going smoother.
And really we're using the phone and also the computer to refresh to even get into the portal. So for us, like 9:58, 9:59, I'm refreshing our browser, refreshing the app, and whatever one lets me in first is when I start going for it. And usually, from all the years past, it's been the computer, not the app.
Yeah.
Now, that can always change,
right? But
for us, I feel like we're usually doing it on the computer. And honestly, it's pretty seamless on the computer because of all the things that we're going to share with you, of how we kind of set it up already. It just makes more sense on the computer. And you may be wondering, like, why in the world are you trying to, open the portal right at midnight Eastern time? Well, we'll tell you why in just a bit.
Okay, number 3 is to have a photo taken of everybody in your party ready to go. So you want it passport style, so just like a neutral background, no hats or anything.
Sad.
Right.
Yeah. So we just do it in front of like a door or like a wall, something like that. We never had any problems with it, but it really is just kind of like shoulders, head, just a passport style photo.
But that's the photos that's gonna pop up. Like I've seen them. I think we did Junie's. She was in her pajamas one time, and it popped up like when I was checking her into the nursery. You'll see it. So
when you get on the cruise, whatever, you'll see that, and you'll be
one.
like, oh, I forgot about that terrible photo.
Another thing to note, and this was a mistake we made, is when you take your photos, make sure you save them as a JPEG, because it didn't do that, and then they needed it to be a JPEG, and we had to like redo that process. So it just kind of like we lost some time there. So make sure you do that.
Sometimes like iPhones, put it in a different kind of format, and they don't take that. So yeah, we're sitting there trying to export it to a JPEG. So just make sure that your photos are a JPEG. Usually it does default, but it didn't this time. So that was a pro tip because we're just sitting here trying to export photos and upload them, and it was like, oh my gosh. But again, having this stuff ready to go before the portal opens is essential. So make sure that you get those shots, a couple days in advance or the day of, but just have it ready to go, because you don't want to be scrambling, running around trying to get shots, especially when it's late and maybe your kid's already asleep. Wake them up, get the shot. But anyway, just again, be prepared for when that portal opens. And speaking of being prepared, make sure that you have all of your documents ready to go. You're taking pictures, you're scanning those, so that way it's easy upload. So for example, your birth certificates for your kids, your passports, all of those different things, we just put it on like a hardwood floor or on the counter, and we just take a nice little picture, make sure that everything is readable, there's no glare, things like that. And then what we do is we take all of those photos, all those documents, and we put them in folders on our desktop. This is why I like using the computer, because I will name everything. So I'll say passports, I will say photos, just in having in different folders. And it just makes it so much easier. I'll even name the file like Landon, Tucker, those are our kids. And that way I know exactly what it is I'm getting, go in the passport folder, grab Lacey, and we're good to go. Because you're rushing through check-in because you're really trying to get an early port arrival time. We'll tell you why, but that's why you're trying to get everything together as fast as you can. So having it all organized makes it so you can get through those steps to be able to pick the beloved port arrival time, early port arrival time.
You'll also want to have your travel details ready for this time as well. So like your flight information. So I'll usually have like our app open, knowing like what time our flights are and when we're coming in, because they'll need to know that, as well as like if you have any transfers or anything with your hotel. So have all that information ready too.
So again, let's just review the things that you really need beforehand, so you're ready for check-in. You're going to need that, portrait photo in that folder. You're going to need your birth certificate picture, your passport. You're going to need your flight information, the flight number, and also where you're staying, if you're using ground transportation, all that kind of stuff. If you're parking, at the port, if you're flying in, all that kind of stuff. So just make sure you have all your things ready to go, so that way you are prepared. So next up is entering your payment information. Now you can actually just say you're gonna pay with cash, or you can put a credit card in. If you pay with cash, it's a little bit faster to get through this part, but make sure you go back in there and put a credit card on file, because they'll limit you on how much you can actually spend on the ship. And we forgot to do that before.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my goodness, I had to go to the front desk and put our credit card on file, so that way Lacey can actually pay for her spa services. And you can update your card information on guest services later on when you're on the ship. So if you're like, you know what, we should have used this card instead, that's totally fine. And we recommend the Disney Visa card, because you get 10% off on the merch and different services, and they'll know that you have that linked to your account. We'll link a referral link below for you guys.
And also within this section, you can mark who you want to have access to using your cards as well. That's in your reservation party. So like Landon, our son, we could say if he wanted to use it, he could just go, buy as much, extra sweets or treats he wants or popcorn, or we could say no. So you can allow who you want in your party to have access to the cards you have on file.
And just so you know, we do not give access to our kids to our credit card.
Okay, this next tip is for if you're sailing with kids. So this is all really good information to know beforehand for the kids club or for the nursery, but you will need all your kids' information, full name, allergies, any medical needs. You'll also need to put in who's authorized to pick them up. So, we did sailings before with grandparents or aunts or uncles, so we'll add them on there. If they're not on there, they cannot pick them up. So you want to make sure to put the right people that you want to pick up your kids. There's also a self check-in and check-out option. So if your kids are between the ages of 8 and 12, they actually do have the ability to check themselves in the club and leave when they want. So that's up to you. So you can make that choice and put that in there so they know.
Also, be prepared and think about a secret word, because what's going to happen is when you pick up your kid, they're going to say, hey, what's your secret word?
Right.
And so again, we're just trying to make sure that you have everything organized and you're thinking through all the different questions ahead of time, so when you're doing the online check-in, you can just pop it in.
Right.
And you're not like thinking like, oh my goodness, what's our secret word? And you're freaking out about it for a while, because it's always those little things.
Yeah.
And so we always have the same secret word every single
cruise,
time.
yeah.
We're not going to share it with you guys, obviously. But
well, it's funny because you do say it out loud. People around
true.
you can hear
Yeah.
it. And then also you need to have like emergency contacts for them. Any medical needs, like I shared, they're very serious about allergies. So all of that stuff, just having that ready to go is going to save you so much time.
Okay, you're finally there. You got through all the steps. You're prepared. Great job. It is time to pick your port arrival time. You made it through all the steps because you're organized. And what we recommend is getting the early port arrival time. That's why we're ready to go at 9:58 p.m. because we're trying to rush through to get that arrival time. Now, obviously, if you don't need it, whatever, you know your schedule. But when we're cruising, we want to get on the ship as soon as possible because we're already paying for everything.
For this day, you might as well take advantage of everything that it has to offer.
Yes.
Because we've been there like very early port arrival times. We've also had late ones where we got on board, and I remember we were talking about this. It was like, I'm like, I feel like everybody has been here for like hours and hours, and people are swimming and doing things and we're just joining the party. So we really like to take advantage of getting there early. Like Justin said, you're paying for it. Might as well take advantage of everything it has to offer. It's always nice just to kind of, get the lay of the land the first day and take advantage of that.
Yeah, it was our first cruise, and we literally ate lunch, and then we were selling away.
Yeah.
But we were looking around like, man, everyone feels like they're already in cruise mode. And so nowadays we try to get as early as possible because, and also the crowd levels are just there. I mean, there's no crowds, right?
That is nice.
Everyone's getting on board, so it feels like the ship is empty, so it's a perfect time to really get that lay of the land. It's kind of like a little bonus day, you know, like if you get there early, you're like a few hours earlier than everyone else. It's like, this is pretty cool. So our next cruise is on the Destiny, and the port is Fort Lauderdale, and we're going to be staying in a hotel really close by, and so we're not going to need Disney transportation. But if you do use Disney transportation, like we have a lot of videos from us staying at like the Hyatt Hotel in the Orlando airport, going to Port Canaveral. If you have transportation that way with Disney, you're usually defaulted to a early port arrival time. So if you have that, you may not need to like rush through all the steps to get there. But for us with this trip, we're gonna be there at 9:58, refreshing, so that way we can try to get that early port arrival time.
But with that, our next tip is don't stress and be flexible if needed. If you get a later time and it's not as early as you want, you know, late arrivals means sometimes the lines aren't as busy, you know, and you're still gonna have a blast. Like we shared, we've been there late and early. We still had an amazing vacation. So don't stress, you know, these are just some good tips.
You know, there's been times when we've done everything right, you know, we had everything organized, ready to go, and our internet went out, so we're using it on a hotspot, and you know, it's just what it is. But you know what? Whatever.
We still had a great cruise.
Had a great cruise. Whatever arrival time you have, it's fine. You're gonna love it. But this is just some ways so you're not super stressed on your online check-in day. And next up, after kind of going through everything, we just double check to make sure everything looks good. You know, all the details and the information that we put in, just to make sure, because we're kind of rushing through some spots. And then if we did put cash instead of a payment, like a credit card payment, we'll go back in and fill that out. And then what we do is we've already kind of booked our excursions and things that we want to do beforehand. We're gonna have another video that comes out that talks about, if you're in the Castaway Club, how far in advance you can actually book those. But we take this moment to kind of like just look over our schedule one last time. People are kind of moving things around during this time because a lot of people are checking in for your cruise. So people are always taking this time to actually like, you know, rearrange the schedule. So there was times when we didn't have like a Paula reservation and they were all sold out. But after online check-in, it was available because people are moving it around. So just double check, see if there's some movement, and book those. And then just kind of talk about the cruise for a little bit and get excited because you guys are 30 days out from your magical voyage, and it is going to be very exciting.
And speaking of double checking with all of this, like before you're doing online check-in and everything, make sure you're checking, just a little tip, your passports with expiration dates or IDs, all of that stuff. We usually check way in advance because if they're gonna get, be expired soon, you wanna make sure, that's all taken care of before all of this process. That would be really stressful. So just, double check all of those dates. They sneak up on you fast.
Yeah, I mean, you should be looking at, when you first book your cruise, you should be making sure that your passport is not expired. Ours is expiring this year, so we're actually applying for renewal before our cruise. So, that should be done way, way before because it's already too late at 30 days. And so, just verify your stuff. Even right now, you're watching this video, go verify your stuff, make sure nothing is expiring. And also, we get a lot of questions about passports for our kids and what we do because technically on some of the cruises, you don't have to have passport.
Well, I just looked it up. So if you're starting in the U.S. and even if you go out of it, but you end at the U.S., your kids, if they're under the age of 15, just need a birth certificate, not a passport.
And so basically, again, we get this question a lot. So we'll kind of explain our thought process. We've used birth certificates for our kids because they're younger and we felt we were fine with that. But this next cruise, our boys are actually going to have their own passports, which they're very excited about.
Yeah. But definitely check out Disney Cruises' website on what they require because like Justin said, like every cruise is different depending where you're going. All right, and then our last one is to save and print your confirmation. So you can print a screenshot of your port arrival form. I'm very much the paper and pen person, so I like to have everything printed. We have like an envelope, we can link below that. We just put everything in.
It's like a document holder.
Yeah, so it just keeps everything organized, papers that we need. So we'll put our port arrival form in there as well. So you just have everything ready to go. Yeah,
we also make a little folder on our email as well. So anything that's regarding this vacation goes in that folder. So if you have transportation reservations, hotel reservations, whatever goes in that folder. So it's easy to grab when you're doing, when you're actually there at the port checking in. But we've also had times where, for whatever reason, we couldn't access those files. And so having an actual hard copy is essential. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really hope this helps ease the process of online check-in and makes it so that it's a fun day, not a stressful day. But again, just take your time through it and have everything organized, and you're going to be just fine. If you have any more questions, please let us know below, and we'll try our best to answer those questions. Or we know that some of you guys, our community, answer it for us as well, which we absolutely love, so thank you for that. We do read every single comment. We try to get back to as many as we can, but we thank you so much for your support. And again, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do that. We have a lot of Disney Cruise content to come.
We do have also a lot of tips and tricks videos for Disney Cruise Line. If you're new, we can link those below. But this is one question that we do get a lot from you guys, is online check-in stuff. So like Justin said, I hope this is helpful for you guys. But we love you so much, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.